Welcome into the Todd Bowles Show. Casey Phillips here with head coach Todd Bowles. So I think what I discovered after Sunday's game is you must have been really good this year, because I think you got everything you would have asked Santa for in that game. Does that sound about right?
It was good for that night. Yes, I'll take it. Santa was very good to us.
Yes. How about just in general looking at this, the largest margin of victory this season and what it meant for this team of the way that this whole game went, the complementary nature of it. What did it say to you about knowing, especially after the Packers game, that the trend that's happening, that it's not just these one-off fluke games, that it feels like the direction you guys are going is where you want to be in December?
It shows the growth throughout the season. You know, the games we lost in the middle of the season, we're now winning. Those guys are playing together. The mistakes are cut down a lot, and they're playing for each other.
Did you view this game as even better than the Packers win in your mind?
It's better because it was the last one before the Packers. You try to take the last game and take it and make it the best game, and we came out with a win. That's all that mattered. Was it clean? No, but at this time of year, to come out with wins in December and keep piling them up is important.
I thought about how you guys scored 5 touchdowns off turnovers in the first 14 games, and then you got 3 just in that game. Did that feel like a sign of the way that it's the most complementary football that you guys have been playing to this date?
It was because of the way they played. You know, offense cashed in, defense got it back, offense cashed in, special teams played well, and it was a complete game for the most part. Some things we want to clean up at the end to finish it, but we can be better there. But for the most part, it was a complete game.
And I know that Baker, I mean, this is just one of those games that I feel like was sort of quintessential Baker in so many ways. What does it say to you about what you saw in this game in particular, and then just his play so far in the month of December?
And having a heck of a month, having a heck of a year for us. Playing very well right now. Everybody wants it. He wants it. We all want it. Everybody's playing for each other. He's making the right reads, the right throws, taking what they give him, making plays when he has to make plays. He's being a true professional.
He's now joined Tom Brady as the only players in franchise history with at least 25 passing touchdowns in their first season with the Bucs. So to think about knowing that whether fair or not, he was going to get compared to Brady and what it's like to succeed a guy after that, and to see a stat like this, that now they're the only 2 that have done something here with the franchise. What have you seen about just his sort of mental and emotional toughness coming into a situation that would have been very challenging, I think, for a lot of quarterbacks to succeed a guy like that and to be in a position to be sharing a stat with him like that?
Well, first, I won't put anybody in Tom's category. Tom has his own Mount Rushmore. Tom is all by himself. But what Baker is doing right now for himself as well as the team, I don't compare it at all. I compare it as him coming in here playing very good football, being where we're supposed to be, helping our team win. Tom is etched in stone. You can't even comment people with Tom in the same breath, so I refuse to do it. But Baker has created a breath of his own, a life of his own, a life for our team, and he's doing very well.
So Mike Evans now has 13 touchdown catches on the season, and when he got his 12th, that was the 5th time he's had 12 or more in a season in his career. He's just the 5th player in NFL history to do that, joining Hall of Famers like Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Marvin Harrison, and Terrell Owens. Every time we have a stat with him and the names we now see that he's up against, it's incredible. Specifically when it comes to all the stats like that with the touchdowns, he's leading the league in receiving touchdowns at this point in the season, 1 short of his own franchise record for a single season. Why do you think this year in particular he's been able to find the end zone so many times?
It's clicking. Everything's clicking. Everything's new. New offensive coordinator, new quarterback, new scheme overall. I think him and Chris are getting moved around a lot more. And same success he's been having, but finding different ways to get open. And I think that's important. I think it's fun for him. I think it's challenging for him. And I think he's rising to the occasion.
Take us through his 2 touchdowns in the game and what he did well.
Oh, he gets open, believe me. He has a stick move and a dead leg that he can make a DB fall asleep and come back and make plays. And on both of them, he's a very deceptive route runner. I don't think he gets enough credit for his route running and his intelligence of the game, of understanding what's being done to him. And he gets himself open, and Baker finds him every time.
Now, also in this game, there were 5 different receivers with at least 25 yards. What have you seen in terms of the chemistry between Baker and a lot of different guys on the team, and then even just what this offense has kind of evolved into, where early in the season it felt like it was, Baker to Mike, and, Rashad getting some touches there, to see how many different unique guys are now getting involved. What do you think has led to that? What does it say about both the offense and Baker?
Well, the offense has evolved, and it's still evolving, but everybody's finding their role and their niche in the offense. I think everybody's getting comfortable with the scheme. I think Dave's doing a great job of getting people open. We have a good balance now with run pass. That's both are working for us right now, and everybody's kind of understanding and playing faster because they're smarter.
We saw Payne Durham, an incredible, amazing over-the-shoulder catch, and it's another big one that he's had, both of them just right down in there by the goal line. What have you seen on a couple of those big receptions for him, and just what you think his future could be as a part of this offense?
That's why we got him. He was a big red zone target in college, and he has a great length in his frame. He has a great catch radius, and when he's down there, he can catch the ball. So as you see him coming into his own, I think he's got a very bright future. I think he's going to be an outstanding tight end, and I'm really happy he's here.
I know also you guys converted 52.6% of your third downs on offense, tied for the best percentage since the start of the 2018 season. What did you see that went well there?
Everything was clicking. Everything was clicking. Guys were on point. We played fast. The ball was coming out of his hands fast. The line gave him time. We were making plays.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Todd Bowles Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Todd Bowles Show. Casey Phillips here with head coach Todd Bowles. All right, so last time you guys shut a team out in the first half was the Germany game last year, and you guys also only allowed 84 net yards, which is the fewest in the first half allowed this season. So what was working so well for you guys on defense?
I think we were mixing it up pretty good. We kind of got him out the run game, and he hadn't practiced all week, so we gave him some different looks, try to confuse him a little bit, and the guys were making plays. Devin made a play, Winfield was making plays, Yaya made plays, Levante was making plays, everybody was making plays.
And I know that 4 turnovers forced, that's got to be just the dream scenario for you guys out there on defense. First time you guys have had at least a +4 turnover margin in over 2 years. Created a couple interceptions when Lawrence had only had 2 in the last 5 games combined. So first game since week 3, you guys had multiple interceptions and takeaways there. So what did you see as the things that specifically when it came to taking the ball away were going so well?
This guy's locked in the focus. We're actually catching the ball now. We dropped 2 still, but we're catching the ball now. Guys are understanding where they need to be, the urgency of how we have to win in the games that we need, and they're coming through.
And take us through Devin's interception. I know now 2 of his 3 career regular season interceptions have come against the Jaguars. So apparently he's a fan of intercepting when they come to town, including his first career interception that came against them. So what worked well on that play?
He had a heck of a disguise going, and he sprinted back to his drop. I don't even think Trevor saw him, and Devin has great hands. He reached out for it, made a heck of a play. If he'd have kept his balance, he might have scored.
And then I know that this is the second game this season where Antoine has at least a sack and an interception. Only he and Steelers linebacker Alex Highsmith have done that twice this season. So let's start with his interception and what Antoine did well there.
He made a play. We knew he was going to overthrow some if we had tight coverage. We talked about it all week. He dove and made a heck of a play.
Just to know that his career numbers at this point, he's just starting to, every week there's new categories and things that we're talking about. Oh, he's the only guy to do this. He's the first guy or the second guy to do this. So he now in this game set a new career high for sacks, picks, and fumble recoveries on a season. And he's the first defensive back since 1999 with at least 5 sacks and forced fumbles in a single season. When you hear stats like that, you think about the DBs that have played this game since '99. What does that say about not only him, but the way your defense works well for him, kind of this partnership that you guys have, the way you set him up for success, and then what he's able to do to finish to get those numbers?
His versatility is amazing. He can do anything that he wants to do. So we kind of use him all over the field when we can, and he's just a heck of a football player. I'm not taking any of that credit. I'm giving all the credit to him. His father probably should take most of it because I'm sure he's watched him growing up for a long time, and he was a heck of a player. So we're just blessed to have him here. We're blessed that he continues to be a pro and practice like that every day and plays like that every game.
Yeah, and we love reminding everybody that he's the Walter Payton nominee for the team this year. And for you guys to have such a stud player on the field also be a guy you would want to nominate for something like that, what's the impact that can have on a team and on a locker room when it's the combination of both being incredible on the X's and O's and who you want off the field?
I mean, it's huge, especially for the young guys coming in, teaching them how to be a pro, not to get too big-headed, always work on their craft, be good on and off the field. It's a very good role model point for the young guys coming in going forward.
And then now, speaking of young guys, you got Kalijah Cansey. He has 10 tackles for loss this season, which leads all rookies. What have you seen in his growth, particularly in that area, and knowing that some of these are coming in the run game where some people said, oh, he's an undersized defensive lineman, maybe you have to sub him out on these rundowns. Where have you seen the growth specifically for him in those areas?
His biggest improvement's been the run game. Understanding blocking schemes and taking on double teams and popping back up and still finding a way to make plays have been huge for him. So he's coming into his own, and I expect a lot more.
I know that now what I love is, so he was the leading rookie for tackles for loss. Yaya, second place among rookies for tackles for loss. To have both of those guys on your team and kind of what that means for the future of this defense, what does that say? And how, knowing especially both of them even missed time either for injury for Kalijah, or Yaya wasn't necessarily getting all the snaps some other people did earlier in the season, to see the numbers the two of them are producing at this point?
It's kind of what you're looking for. Great competition up there. They're very good friends as well, and they set each other up for success. And hopefully that turns into something that can be around here a long time.
Yaya also now got his first career forced fumble thanks to his strip sack of Trevor Lawrence. He recovered it. Also, take us through that play.
Yeah, when he gets going full speed, it's hard to stop him. We had a stunt going on. There's a lot of guys and a lot of movement going on in there, and if you give him a crease, he's going to blow it up and make it happen, and that's what he did.
And he's now leading the team in sacks after getting 1.5 in this game. Where have you seen his growth, particularly when it comes to his pass rush and some of his different moves? We've known all along he had the athleticism. So what have you seen in terms of some of the mental side and his approach, particularly in pass rush?
It's really been his get-off. Coach Edwards does a great job working with him on his get-off. That's kind of been the only thing holding him back. He was already fast and could run, but his get-off wasn't as sharp. He doesn't have any wasted steps on his get-off anymore, so he's getting back there pretty good.
All right, we're going to take another quick break here on the Todd Bowles Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Todd Bowles Show. Casey Phillips here with head coach Todd Bowles. We were talking about Yaya's many tackles for loss, sacks, all of it. One of his tackles for loss, which lost 10 or 12 yards on the play. In that moment, that made them at a negative rushing yard total at that point in the game, and you guys only allowed 37 net yards rushing by the end of the game, which is your fewest allowed since week 4 of the 2021 season. So what did that say to you about your run defense and the game situations you guys were able to put them in?
Well, we're getting better. Yaya I think he made a play early in the year on a reverse just like that. He made another play like that. People don't understand he can run. He's a 4-5 guy. He can get back there and he can run people down. But again, we got ahead. When you get ahead and people have to play from behind, you're not going to get as many runs. But the run defense has steadily gotten better. We got to keep working on it and keep getting better from that standpoint. But I thought 37 yards to make him one-dimensional was pretty good.
And we saw Levante get a sack. He now has 4.5 on the season, which is his most in a season since getting 5 in 2016. It just feels like he's turning back the clock, and on some of his stats, it looks like so much earlier in his career he hasn't done this since that year. Specifically when it comes to his sack numbers this year, what have you seen as why this year has kind of brought him back to some of those earlier totals?
We've been blitzing Devin a lot. Everybody knows that they're going to turn everything to 45, so we just started unleashing 54 and letting him climb up. So now they got to kind of pick and choose their poison right now, and they've still been choosing 45, so we've been going with 54. Works for me either way.
Yeah, whoever it is, that's going to work. We saw Zyon force a fumble, and I know also you had him playing a little bit at safety early on when both Carlton and Jamel were healthy, and you had mentioned throughout this last week of, hey, you think of him as a starter regardless of who's healthy, and that it's almost like he's kind of made it like, yeah, we got to find ways to put him out on the field. So take us through the decision of playing him there and how he looked for that brief time that he was in that role.
It was a good role for him because Ingram is just like a wide receiver, so they kind of have 4 receivers on the game, so we needed another guy. And he's lengthy and fast enough, and he's a very heady football player. And we're going to play him because he's one of our best players on defense. It's just a matter of where we can find a place to play him. and that's a great problem to have for coaches. But he's in there, and he did a great job when he had to cover him. Then when Carlton went out, he went back to corner, so that kind of ended a lot of that. But we have a lot of plans for Zyon.
And tell us about his forced fumble and what he did well on that play.
I can't believe he forced one. He got a good hit, first of all. He got a good hit. I thought Izzy kind of punched in there too, but they both got a good hit and put their head in there. As nice as he is off the field, he comes ready to play on Sunday, and he has a different demeanor and mentality, and I like it.
I like that. It felt like there were very few penalties, at least until closer to the end of the game. Do you feel like in general you've seen progress in that area over the course of the season and kind of the overall idea of not beating yourself, playing a little bit cleaner? How would you evaluate that aspect?
It had gotten better. I thought the last part of the fourth quarter was sloppy. We need more composure on both sides of the ball, and we got to close the game out.
And then for you guys, knowing the message to this team that you now have the ability to clinch the NFC South, and it has been a sort of playoff scenario for several weeks now in a lot of ways. Do you ever worry about trying to be able to maintain that intensity when it's almost like it feels like the playoffs have been going on for weeks on end before you even get to that point? And just overall, what is the message you have about the mentality and the approach to this next week's game?
It's no different. It's a playoff game for us. It's to get in, division opponent. Obviously, we're trying to win the division. We got to beat them to win it. No different. We got to play with composure. We got to study. We got to work our way up to Sunday, and then we got to come out ready to play.
And this next game is on New Year's Eve. So are you a New Year's resolution guy?
I stopped about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. So if you were to make New Year's resolutions for your team, what do you feel like it would be of the things that you'd say, this is what I want to see over these next few weeks from them?
Keep doing exactly what we're doing, and that'll be good enough.
Well, that's a nice way to be able to do it. Most people don't feel that way about their resolutions. It's a good position to be in. All right, we're going to take one more break. We'll be back with our final segment here on the Todd Bowles Show. It's time for our final segment here on the Todd Bowles Show, facing the Saints. It feels appropriate. This is the team you would face to try to clinch the NFC South with the history of these two teams. Does it feel a bit like a unique sort of rivalry matchup between these two at this point?
It's always tough. I know that much. It's always tough. Turnovers win ball games. Either side wins ball games. We know they're going to be ready to play. We'll be ready to play. And, we want the fans to come out and cheer as loud as they can, and we're going to try and get it done.
Looking at the Saints, what are the biggest either similarities or differences you see in them as compared to the first matchup?
They do some things on defense, just like we do on defense. Have some very good veteran players over there. Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. Obviously, Lattimore's hurt, but they got Jordan over there, and offensively, you still got to handle Kamara. Kamara's still top-notch running back. You got Olave over there, you got Shaheed over there, and you got Carr that can throw the football. So it's going to be a challenge, huge offensive line. They know us, we know them, and we got to be ready to play.
What are the biggest things that when you look at their offense and our defense, where do you see some of those matchups being the most important and some of the strength on strength or ways that you feel like it's going to be the most challenging?
They're all important. It's going to be strength on strength all over the field. They have playmaking receivers. Our corner's going to have to play. They can run the ball. Our backer's going to have to play, and they have a big line, so our D-line's going to have to play. No different than the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be a tough game. We know that, and nothing's going to be given to us, so we got to go out and win it.
And then how about on the other side of things, looking at their defense, what are some of the biggest things that you feel like you've learned watching as our offense has grown and changed over the course of the season? What are the ways that you feel like that could end up matching up better against their defense than maybe the first time around?
Hopefully execution early and starting fast. Saints are a very good football team. They don't let you get going. They keep you off balance for quite a while, and you have to try and figure them out. I think Dennis does a great job schematically, and those guys play the scheme very well, and before you know it, they can get turnovers. So offensively, we got to take care of the ball, but not be conservative at the same time.
All right, well, Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and hope your New Year's game goes well against the Saints.
Thank you.